As a NASCAR fan, it is hard not to feel the tension heading into this weekend. Something major is building, and there is a real sense of uncertainty surrounding it. NASCAR is introducing changes that could dramatically affect how one of the wildest tracks on the calendar races, or they may end up changing nothing at all. That uncertainty is exactly why everyone in the garage and every fan watching is paying attention. Because when NASCAR attempts to adjust the racing at a superspeedway, especially one as unpredictable as Talladega Superspeedway, the outcome can go one of two ways. It either creates something unforgettable, or it exposes even deeper issues within the current racing product. And right now, two major storylines are colliding at the same time, making this weekend even more significant. The first is NASCAR's official decision to alter the stage lengths for the upcoming Cup Series race at Talladega. This is not a minor adjustment. Instead of following the more traditional structure of shorter opening stages followed by one extended run to the finish, NASCAR has flipped the format entirely. Stage 1 will now end on lap 98, Stage 2 on lap 143, and the final stage on lap 188. That means the race will be divided into 98 laps, then 45, then 45. The goal behind this move is strategic. Since the Daytona 500, NASCAR and teams have been trying to address the fuel-saving style of racing that has dominated superspeedways. Fans have criticized the slow-paced three-wide runs where drivers conserve fuel instead of aggressively racing for position. According to NASCAR leadership, the solution, at least for now, is to change race structure rather than make major technical modifications to the cars. The logic is simple. By shortening the final two stages, teams should theoretically be able to complete them without fuel stops. That would reduce the need for fuel-saving tactics and encourage drivers to race harder all the way to the finish. At least in theory. Because while NASCAR views this as a practical adjustment, not everyone in the garage is convinced it will work. That brings us to the second major storyline, Kyle Busch. Busch has made it clear that he does not believe these changes will have the intended effect. His argument is straightforward. No matter how NASCAR adjusts stage lengths, teams and crew chiefs will always find ways to maximize strategy. Fuel saving, short filling on pit stops, and exploiting any possible advantage are built into the competitive nature of the sport. And according to Busch, those habits are not going to disappear simply because the stages are shorter. He also pointed to a bigger issue passing itself. In Busch's view, the challenge at Talladega is not just fuel strategy. It is the racing dynamics of the current package. When cars are locked into three-wide pack racing, there is little room to build momentum or create passing opportunities. Even when the field shifts to two lanes, the bottom groove often dominates, making movement difficult. That means the best opportunities to gain track position often come on pit road, not on the track. If that is true, then changing stage lengths may only address the symptoms, not the root problem. And that raises the key question heading into Sunday. Is NASCAR truly fixing something here? Or is this simply a cosmetic adjustment that leaves the underlying issues untouched? That is why this race at Talladega feels far bigger than a normal stop on the schedule. It has become a test not just for drivers, but for NASCAR itself. If these stage changes produce more aggressive racing and less fuel conservation, NASCAR may see it as proof that creative rule adjustments can improve the product without changing the cars. But if the same patterns continue, pressure will grow for NASCAR to consider the more difficult technical changes they have been trying to avoid. That could mean revisiting horsepower, spoilers, and other aerodynamic factors that directly shape superspeedway competition. And as the 2026 season gains momentum, every decision like this carries greater importance. Wins, stage points, and strategic calls are becoming increasingly critical as playoff positioning tightens. So while this weekend may be centered on Talladega, the bigger story is about the future direction of NASCAR. Personally, there is reason for both optimism and skepticism. It is encouraging to see NASCAR actively searching for solutions rather than pretending the racing product is flawless. That matters. Fans have voiced concerns since Daytona, and the organization is at least acknowledging the problem. At the same time, Busch's criticism is difficult to ignore. NASCAR teams are among the smartest and most adaptive in motorsports. They will always turn rules into strategic opportunities. That is their job. So while shorter final stages may reduce some fuel saving, it is unlikely to completely transform the racing overnight. The deeper issue remains how difficult it is to pass with the current package. And if drivers continue saying the only meaningful way to gain positions is through pit strategy, that signals a much larger structural challenge. So this feels less like a permanent fix and more like a short-term experiment. But at a place like Talladega, even a small change can create major consequences. If these adjustments introduce more aggression, different strategy calls, or just enough unpredictability, that may be all it takes for the race to become unforgettable. And if it does not, then NASCAR will have even bigger decisions waiting ahead. All eyes will be on Talladega this Sunday, not just to see who wins, but to see what this race reveals about where the sport is heading next.